Talk, a No Facts, All Feelings wrestling podcast. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
And we're in really good moods this week. True, false? True, false?
True.
Oh, yeah. I've never felt better.
Some of the best moods we've ever been in.
So good. It was crazy how good Dynamite was this week.
Absolute feast for the senses. Feast for the mind. Feast for the body.
It was definitely one of those moments that was like, I'm being pandered to. I've never had that before. This is for me.
And I love it.
I think a firm 80% of the show was for us, which I don't know if we've ever reached those levels.
No.
It was honestly almost 100. I mean, it was really high.
It was really high.
Had the time of my life. And we had a great pay-per-view, and the weather here was beautiful. And hey, Leah, I think this is a good time for you to take it away. What's making you happy this week?
You know, my girls actually know what it is because I got a slam dunk what's making me happy this week, which is that, you know, as a Biden girl, always a Biden girl.
We all are.
All the time.
All the time, yeah.
My personal hero forgave $30K of my student
Is
loans.
it $30K? I thought it was only $20.
I
wow.
recounted it, and it is $30K of my student
$20.
loans. So,
thank you,
Mr.
Joseph,
Biden.
Robinette, Biden.
Mr. Biden, thank you very much for your service.
I'm going to tell my parents who live 5 minutes away from his home in Delaware to drive on over and leave him a little thank you note. And they will get arrested by the Secret Service probably for doing that. But I'm sure they'll do it for you. I'm sure they'll do it for you, Leah.
That'd be so nice. There have been on top of that, there's they ruled against non-competes, and there were a few other little policy things today. But I saw some tweet where someone was like, boy, Joseph Biden's agencies are doing more for making me want to vote for him than he ever has. And someone was like, what do you think the president does?
Yeah.
Which I thought was very funny. Yeah, man, that's what you're voting for.
That's kind of what it is. The agencies kind of
FTC.
follow where the head goes, the body follows, baby.
Yep, that's kind of the executive branch, which he has control over, not the legislative branch, which he has very little control over.
Yeah. You know, as a lot of our problems in our culture do come back to education, which is really lacking.
A problem I think we've noticed even more as we entered the IWC.
Wow, it is a constant. I'm so sorry that the public school failed them so badly out there in the IWC. Leah, what are you going to do with all your extra cash now that you're student loan free?
$30K that it's almost like you having cash now.
Yeah.
Supporting the Young Bucks.
It's going straight to Young Bucks merch.
I'm doing my part, Leah.
They need this more than me.
I asked myself, how can I support them?
I found my favorite millionaires and I send my cash their way.
Didn't we say that? We said that on this podcast once. Do you remember when we said, how can I financially support?
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. That's her catchphrase.
No, I know. I was just trying to remember the exact thing that we said, and it was financially. Which
how can I financially
support them? Yeah.
Wow. Well,
what comic am I thinking of where they're like, why did you send Oreos $100? And it's like, I like their product. I wanted them to have a little
stick
little walking around money.
Little walking around money.
Walking around money.
That's what I'm doing with my
Biden
Biden
money. To have a little lazy river money. Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations, Leah. That's
thank you very much.
That's very good news, and I'm so glad that you felt happiness this week when I know that you worried you wouldn't.
I really worried.
You certainly complained about how you didn't intend to feel any happiness, so why were we going to make you talk about it?
Yeah, and Joe Biden heard you, and he said, Leah, this is for you.
Let's get that attitude straight, Leah.
Well, if I'm forced to do this again, I think he should do my credit card next.
You're going to be forced to do it again every 3 weeks for the rest of the summer. So get used to
hear
it.
That.
No, start enjoying life.
You've got to notice. You've got to start opening your eyes and notice every time that you feel that happiness and say, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is.
Yes.
I don't like what's happening.
Or how do you say, what's the Italian thing you say that's like the good life? La bella vida. Something like that, you know. Try saying that, maybe. Like, just look around and say, la bella vida.
And if you weren't happy before, that Italian accent's going to make you happy, so.
My mother was at a thrift store earlier, and she bought this painting, and she was like, what does this mean? And I was like, why would you buy a painting without understanding what's written on it? Which I actually am going to read, because it is, like, I think my entire family was like, that means nothing. It's eggs of an hour, bread of a day, wine of a year, a friend of 30 years. Italian proverb.
Is that like the preferred aging of each thing? Yeah.
How does it start? Eggs
of an hour, bread of a day, wine of a year, a friend of 30 years, an Italian proverb.
An egg lasts longer than an hour.
But maybe they're best straight out of the chicken, you know?
That's so true. Still warm from the hen. That is so true. Okay. Well, I think that's enough proverbs for now.
I have been looking at apartment therapy a certain amount because I'm on a little interior decorating kick, but then they'll have like apartments like from someone in Portugal or whatever, and they'll have like actually a lot of like English language, like kind of live, laugh, love type signs on it. But it's like, oh, if that's not your native language, it probably looks cooler, is my guess. Like I'd love to have a little Portuguese on my wall, you know?
Well, I have to tell you, I think that dream is within reach.
Probably is, yeah.
And just go on Al Gore's internet. Or as I believe last week you called it Elon Musk's internet.
No, I called it ElonMuskX.com. So.
You did, but then after recording stopped, you then employed the phrase Elon Musk's internet. And I said to you, you've taken the entire internet away from Al Gore. You've given it to Elon Musk. And you were, I mean, honestly, unapologetic.
I have no memory of any of this is the remarkable thing, but I'm not going to apologize now either.
You just kind of acted like, yeah, that's life. The white man gets what the white man wants.
It's billionaire
Al Gore
spread.
Also a white man, but, you know.
Well, they take it from each other. That's their favorite thing to do, aside from taking it from everybody else. Okay, well, it got political, but let's hit the wrestling because we've actually got quite a bit to talk about. So we are going to start tonight by talking about Swerve Strickland, who won his match against Samoa Joe at Dynasty and is our new world champion. And he is a fighting champ. He took on Kyle Fletcher on Dynamite this week and won. And he's going to open yet another 3-hour collision this weekend with his first official statement as champ. What did you guys think of the whole Dynasty presentation and match?
I thought his gear was very cool. I love that he did a Black Panther thing. I thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah, it looked very cool.
Yeah, and I loved the whole energy of his entrance. Like I just thought he did I felt it in the air the second I saw him. Yeah. I was like, oh, he's winning.
Yeah, totally. And his energy after he won, too, was also, like, extremely charming. Like, yes. I felt very excited and, super cool. And Samoa Joe was also there.
Samoa Joe, honestly, I can't find him in very many of my memories. I know that he must have been there for the match to have occurred.
Surely.
There was, the thing is that, many times during that match, I was like, is Swerve small? Because,
oh my God, that is true.
Yeah. Samoa Joe just kept, he really did look like a fucking monster. He just kept, doing things to Swerve that I was like, is Swerve Orange Cassidy size? I don't understand what's happening right now.
I love a classic relative sizes of men. It just really opens the world up for you.
We're constantly rediscovering it. We forget, and then we remember. Yeah, I thought that the match seemed really good, with no real emotional component aside from wanting Swerve to win very badly and wanting to get to the part where we're in his reign and we're doing some real feuds. So awesome.
I thought it was interesting. So Swerve called into One Nation Radio this week and was talking to them kind of about this, and he kind of said that he and Joe just didn't have the time to pull anything out. He was like, we weren't able to hit the beats that Hangman and I hit. We just had to get from point A to point B, and the only thing that we could do was make it about the championship. So it is what it is. And it kind of felt like I was kind of glad because it was like, oh, you know that this feud isn't what it could be, and he knows why. It's just he's he would have drawn this out and like found like sore spots to hit on each other until you could like rev it up into something. So I don't know. I liked hearing him say that because I was like, okay, good. So, you know, next time, can we give him time? Can we give Swerve like a long like chance to like make a meal out of something?
I think he has such good like character instincts and like thinks pretty seriously about that, which I really appreciate about him. And it does make sense that with a month it's hard to like really get too psychological.
Yeah,
that is true. But my rhetorical points from last week stand. If we can't get psychological, we must get rhetorical.
Yeah,
that's going to be my new motto that I'll be breaking out.
And I am very interested in what his speech is going to be on Collision.
Yes.
I wish so. It's, as you know, it's Thursday night, and so we haven't seen Collision. Listeners will have seen it by the time this airs, but like I'm desperate to know like whether he's going to like pick a face heel thing, whether he's going to like say things that are kind of define where his head's at, because I feel like we've been missing a lot of that. It's like, where is Swerve right now? Like, I don't know really where his character's at, and I'm hoping that like a lot of like whatever he has to say on Collision, like we get some kind of like grounding so that then he can kick off into a cool reign.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be, let me hit you with another little musical theater reference. We love to talk about the I Want song. What if the thing you need at the beginning of a reign is kind of the I Believe from Book of Mormon about what the championship is.
Yeah. Yeah. What does it mean to him now that he has it?
What does the championship mean to me? Because remember when Samoa Joe got that belt and he told us that what it meant to him was that he was instituting a committee.
That goddamn committee.
We never saw. That would assess everybody's like applications to fight him, and the committee would take those applications seriously. We never met the committee, and actually we never heard about it again after 2 weeks. A fact I resent to this day.
I know.
He mentioned it several times, but no one ever submitted any paperwork. No one ever made a case.
I wonder if it's something that he had in his mind and Tony was not backing, and he was like, I'm just going to keep talking about it, and surely he'll let me have a committee.
And then Tony wouldn't give him 3 people sitting behind a folding table. They have enough folding tables.
All they've got are folding tables.
I don't understand why Tony wouldn't be on board with it. I guess I resentfully think of it as kind of a campaign promise, actually. Yeah, where I'm just of course you said that when you were out in Iowa. But then the second you're in the White House, you don't give a shit.
What? The Senate is blocking you? Give me a break.
Yeah, so we're gonna see him on Saturday. You will have seen him by the time you hear this, so we're very excited to hear what he has to say.
And it'll be cool too because it's right after the NBA, so big lead in. So it's exciting that they're kind of hopefully setting him up for success there, and all the hand wringing about him not doing it last night. People can just take a deep breath once in a while.
I don't want to. It was a little off brand, and oh, you know the lead in? That's not really what we do.
It's not really what we do. Yeah, it's going to be a huge lead in the demo, so we're pretty excited about that.
The first quarter
been hanging out with
Trish
too much. She's
I found it
ruined
a little
me.
Disconcerting, but you know what? I guess it's your right to know things. We are all allowed to know things.
I did say NBA in a kind of a questioning tone because I was college is over, right? It is over, college basketball, and it is, and I'm right about that. So
we're well into April. So although I know that March Madness did go into April, I know that. I know that it did.
And why do you know that? Is it because of wrestling ratings?
It's probably because of One Nation Radio or something, if I had to guess. I mean. Wrestling ratings, One Nation Radio, it's something like that. Just, you're right. It's not because I watched any of it.
No, unwillingly educated by our peers.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking and screaming the whole way. Did you enjoy Kyle Fletcher as the first defense?
I am not hand-wringing about Swerve's presentation yet because I'm kind of well, let's see how this plays out a little bit. I did think it was a little crazy. I think giving him Collision as his the big Collision lead in as his celebration is good. I don't think I would have had him on Wednesday's show because the Kyle match was about Kyle. It was about Kyle and Don Callis. Like, Swerve really wasn't like the centerpiece of it, which is fine. Like, it's just, I just thought it was a little strange. It's fine though.
Yeah, they probably should have pitched it a little more where it was like Swerve emotionally something is happening. But yeah, I didn't have like a big beef with it or anything. I mean, when you have a first defense that someone's gonna lose, it's like, sure, throw a Kyle Fletcher at him, whatever.
Yeah. I think it's good he got right out there and wrestled. I like that. I like to see him in action
of course,
immediately.
We like a fighting champion, and of course he looked great.
Always have.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't have liked it if he wasn't on the show at all.
No, I think that would have been very inappropriate.
I don't know. I don't. Again, this is one of those. Well, it's one of those things where it's like, God, I'm glad it's not my job. Like, I'm so glad it's not my job to figure this out.
Every week we say it. We don't have the answers.
I did like Kyle's big, brave defiance of Daddy, though.
Yeah, well, let's hop on over to the Callis family portion of this. So we did on Sunday with Dynasty. We did get to see that Ospreay Danielson match that everyone had been saying is going to be the match of all time, and there wasn't really any emotional build, which we commented on lightly, but I think we didn't complain about. We just said, all right, well, I'm sure it will be a very good match. And we watched the match, and it certainly was a very good match. I think it was very good wrestling. I think it was some of the best wrestling. Yeah, so...
I think we might have even gone as far as to say it's a match for boys, and it's like, no, it was a match for me. I loved it.
It was a match for everyone with eyes to see.
With eyes to see, yeah.
Can I be a contrarian for a second?
Please.
It was good, and I'm only emboldened to say that I was going to pretend that I loved it as much as Dave Meltzer, but Jeff and I had dinner, and he was like, I feel like I need to rewatch it because, like, I mean, I liked it, and it was good, but I kind of... people are talking, and I was like, that's kind of how I felt. But I mean, I don't know if I was just zoned out. And clearly, it just wasn't even my favorite Danielson match, I don't think. So
it is wild that we are in a situation where I'm about to praise Danielson and you're bored. It is wild that we're here.
I don't know. There were other ones where I felt like I was more on the edge of my seat, and I wish I knew enough technically to be like, why did this one not grab me as much as like Hangman and Danielson and the 60-minute Iron,
Yeah.
That's interesting because there have been a lot of other Danielson matches where both of you actually have had a pretty strong reaction of like, when I'm seeing Danielson, like, he just knocks it out of the park. And I've been like, yeah, he's extremely good. But I wasn't that, like, I didn't feel that, like, oh, fuck. I didn't have that sit-up feeling. And this one I really did, where I was just like, y'all are insane.
So
like, you are absolutely unhinged at each other right now. But, like, they both just seem to be enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. No accounting for taste. I have no idea why, but...
Different minds experience the world differently, and we are constantly relearning it.
Yeah.
We're a little disconcerted by it. We're not. Like, of course. When the three of us don't agree on something, it doesn't feel great.
When we're not, as we like to say, borging.
Yeah.
No, it's not what we prefer.
Unsettling. I know, when the echo chamber breaks momentarily, it's terrifying.
An echo escapes into the outer world. It's like, get back in here. What are you doing out there? Talking by yourself?
I mean, it was very good, though. I'm not going to argue that it was a bad match or anything,
But if you wanted to get us some clicks, you could. If you wanted...
That's true. We're really missing some opportunity.
This could all happen inside the apparatus of the Social Suplex Network, okay? So you have to say something so crazy right now, and then we'll reach out to say, we'll hit up Trish and Sarah and say, can you just aggregate this absolutely wild quote out of context and get us...
And then we'll get...
Just aggregate, it wasn't even my favorite Danielson match. Just put that out there. I'll get destroyed on the message boards.
I guess the unfortunate thing with aggregation is that I don't think it often leads to people actually listening to the podcast.
No,
that's true.
I think
really
we just get ripped apart on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, well,
and then people will be like, those grifters at Tunnel Talk. Yeah,
grifters. We're fun-loving girls.
We're not making any money, so how could we be a grifter?
It's so true. Did I cut you off, Leah? Were you going to say something?
No, I was gonna say if we get the rest of the network in on it and like make Imp do a reaction pod to our comments, and then like and it'll just be like a closed circle of people like doing. But again, like, what is this going to do for us?
I don't know. I think it's actually just a performance art piece that I'm quite interested in. So more than anything,
we could really. Yeah, let's put little performance art via Social Suplex Network, multiple shows, just on the back burner for sometime in the future as a surprise.
And then we upload, we just make a little like museum description card, and the art piece is titled IWC. And that's a commentary, guys. I don't know if you got it, but it's actually political art. I think it's been a good use of our time. The Ospreay did win this match, and the match actually ended with Bryan Danielson writhing in pain, surrounded by doctors, because Ospreay had hurt him so badly or caused him to have a seizure that he loves faking these by doing the famed Tiger Driver 91. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah,
probably right.
They've been calling it Tiger Driver and Storm Driver, but I think it's 91.
91, yeah. And this is the one that he did in the match with Kenny, and then everyone was concerned trolling about it. So later at the post-PPV scrum, Ospreay was like, I feel so bad about what happened to Danielson, I'm retiring the move. And he didn't use it in his match in the gauntlet this week. And afterwards, Don Callis was so mad at both his boys because he said, you should have used the move that could injure someone and their career. I don't care if you do that. And Kyle Fletcher, you should have won a match. And he was not happy.
Well, he's specifically mad because he told Kyle to do something that was called, oh my God, what was it? It began with an M. He announced Montgomery. I forget. Missouri. I forget. He like stood up from the commentary table and was like, Kyle, do the Mississippi. Yeah. And Kyle turned and was like, okay. And like, I think this made me
this sounds like a classic tunnel talk, like do the Mississippi.
And I keep hearing it as do the Macarena, so the Macarena started in my head. Dun, da, da, dun,
someone
da, 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 da.
Well, we used to call right now is like,
you idiots. They're like, you idiots. It wasn't Mississippi. It was this specific word that has all this historical connotation. And I'm going to be like, well, I didn't know that.
There's lots of history in Mississippi. So,
yeah.
You know.
But so Kyle goes over, and I think it was like he was being told to use a table, I believe. I don't know why he had a special code word for it. And he looked under the apron, saw the table, paused, looked at Don Callis, then looked back and said, no, not gonna. And so then he climbed back in, and Don Callis was fucking ripshit. But my enemy at Bleacher fucking Report, and I'm sorry, Eric Beeson. I'm sorry I made fun of you. Please come home. I've left the back door open. I can't. Fucking
the porch light is on, baby.
The porch light is on. Fucking Doc Chris Muller said, Kyle went looking for tables, but he couldn't find it, so he gave up. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I feel like if you're being employed to recap shows, you should at least accurately recap those shows at a bare minimum.
We can't fully unpack it on every single episode because we've done it quite a bit. But these recaps, I swear to God, the official AEW recappers and all the other recappers, they skip so much of the stuff that is plot relevant. Like they either don't see it, apparently they misconstrue it, they don't report it. I don't know what it is, but it's like sometimes I think, well, no wonder that Dave Meltzer sometimes doesn't know the plots. He can't refer to a recap, and he's watching a lot of
he probably doesn't see it either. He's busy noticing all the suplexes.
He's watching it on 15 screens like Mr. Universe.
He's actually in a virtual reality. He's transcended.
Dave Meltzer has actually been AI this whole time. And
I really did enjoy everybody being like, and Dave Meltzer didn't get to watch that Dynamite because he was at his son's wedding. I know he's devastated. He didn't get to watch Dynamite.
The amount of people who were like, did he miss it because of his wedding? He did. Well, good for him. Like there was a real serious chance that he would skip his son's wedding for that.
Did you see the Don Callis tweet about it?
No.
Where he said, I heard that Dave Meltzer left his son's wedding so he could watch my segment. Can we, okay. One thing I wanted to say. I missed that myself. And I love the implication then that after last week's situation on Dynamite, Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher were having, you know, a best friend sleepover and just like murmuring under the covers, like, I don't know, it makes me a little uncomfortable, Kyle. Like, I think maybe next time he tells us to do something bad, like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't, Kyle. And Kyle was like, I guess, well, now that you say that, maybe that does make sense. I don't know. It's like, I just didn't have anyone to back me up before, but you're here now. So if you agree not to do anything bad, I won't do anything bad either.
I think that's right. Right. Now that they're together, they're going to be strong. They're going to be good boys.
And I have to be.
Will peer pressuring.
If they're pushing towards this breakup, Mark Davis has to be close to coming back. Don't you think he has to be close?
He's been gone for 1,000,000 years. I literally can't remember what his butt looks like.
I need to see the butt.
Just picture the roundest, largest
beautiful
pumpkin.
That's lovely, Anne.
Thank you. I'm a writer, so yeah.
Old pumpkin butt. I hope old pumpkin butt comes back real soon. I can't wait to see him again. The second thing I was going to say, what do you guys think was going on inside Will Ospreay's mouth during the match? Because it was blue in there. I noticed it. As I said in the notes here, I feel a sense of pride and ownership over that now, where I'm like, I saw inside his mouth it was blue. I told everyone when I looked inside his mouth it was blue, and eventually they agreed it was blue in there. What do you think happened?
Was that during Dynasty?
Yeah.
We didn't know at that time that Rich Latta was at the scrum. We could have messaged him and been like, could you get this question in?
Ospreay, what'd you eat, buddy?
Was it fucking foolish of us?
Blue lollipop?
I
don't know. I want to know his candy of choice. And actually, maybe I should just send a little tweet at him because he'd probably answer.
He would probably be thrilled to get a question like that instead of all
like,
the
I looked
stupid
at
ass
your mouth
questions.
during Dynasty. I saw it was blue in there. It was full blue.
What if you had, I was just thinking, because I've been enjoying a little diet orange soda a certain amount lately, and I had one the other day, like mid-afternoon, and then I realized I was going to the dentist at 5, but my tongue was still like a little bit orange, so I had to go like brush it, because I was like, it'd be so embarrassing for my dentist to be like, why is your tongue orange, like when I'm a grown-ass adult. But so I, for Will Ospreay, if he like ate a blue candy and then was like, oh dang, like I hope no one notices that my whole mouth is blue.
And I hope that he was like, no one's gonna notice. I don't wrestle with my mouth.
Yeah. No one's gonna look in there.
Oh,
they're not gonna look all the way in my mouth.
Not yet. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say about the Callis family or Ospreay or Danielson or anything?
I did like that this injury angle like took this match and actually did push it into like an emotional storyline for Will Ospreay, and it used one of Danielson's favorite things, which was being a sicko and pretending to be hurt and scaring people.
Yeah, I think he must have really been whacking off about that. I think he had the time of his life. And I loved Ospreay the whole time he was in the ring, and he kept trying to go over, and the doctors were like, no, just go do your celebration. You don't need to be here. He just looked so stressed. Like it's like a dog who wants to comfort its owner, and the owner keeps being like, no, go to your corner. And it's just like, what the fuck do you mean, go to my corner? What do you mean? You're crying.
It's bad. Yeah.
So, I like that.
I like that as well. I also really liked in the gauntlet when he came face to face with Jay White, and both of them got this look on their face that it was like, holy shit, what are you doing here?
Jay's been on Collision so much that Will Ospreay didn't know he worked for this company.
That was the vibe. That they both were like, holy shit, I haven't seen you since our last job together. How'd you end up here?
Actually, one time I was at work and someone had just gotten hired who I used to work with, and I saw him in the hall and I was like, wait a second. And then I was like, what city am I? Because I consult, and I was like, I knew that guy from Carbondale, Illinois. And then I was like, wait, where am I? No, I'm not in Carbondale right now. Anyway, it is a surreal feeling. So, Jay White, Will Ospreay, I get it.
And I have to say, they do both have extremely different brands of God's perfect idiot energy. So it's delightful to see the moment when those two personalities intersect just in sweet stupefaction. It's something that's happening before them.
Yeah. And Allie, I was going to say, do you want to say anything about what you've called Kyle O'Reilly's, quote, pale heaving body?
Oh my God, did I put that in this section? Oh my God, you're
did.
so right. Well, the only thing I wanted to say was that I just love his pale body, and it's actually his pale heaving belly, because when they're like kind of locking each other, he fought Roddy, of course, and he did lose, and he had this really long hair, like he'd been in the woods, like kind of a Limberlost look, but then he cut it off for Dynamite, and that's beside the point. But then during the Dynasty match when he was wrestling, he just kept getting locked in by Roddy, and then he'd just be heaving for breath, and his pale little stomach would be going like a rabbit, and that just really does it for me. Still does. Still crazy after all these years, baby.
Men really don't understand what gets women's erotic interest, really and you can put this pale heaving belly in your list, guys. Put it in the notes. I want to say I refrained from saying that in a number of group chats while we're watching, but on our public pulpit, our podcast, of course. I'll hear it now.
In private, I couldn't share that, but in the public forum, of course, I said it loudly.
Once we get on these mics, it's like anything could happen. I fully black out.
I am compelled to speak the truth.
We take our truth serum and we get in front of these microphones.
We do it for you, our listeners. He's got beautiful legs too. I love you, Kyle. I haven't decided about the haircut yet, and I'm very interested to see what's happening with him next. We're going to have to get another interview segment because I don't know where his head's at.
No.
You know? So I need to see my little Arctic explorer in a one-on-one with Renee, and I need to see him saying something very strange. Please.
Yeah. And if Renee wants to ask about, anything that happened while he was off wrestling for 2 years, we'll be happy to hear it.
It's called reporting, Renee. Try doing a little. Renee, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't be caught in the crosshairs here. I do think it is your duty to ask, though. Your journalistic duty.
Joke, criticize Renee, and you couldn't even get into it. I'm so sorry.
I felt so bad.
Perfect.
It's like she's the last person who deserves it. Okay. But Dave Meltzer maybe ask some questions.
There you go.
Maybe the Dave Meltzers, the Sean Ross Sapps, the Brandon Thurskins, the Joe Lanzas. I'd love for you guys to ask the real questions for a change, such as where has Kyle been on a ship for the past
and who did he eat? Let's get into it.
I want names. Has anyone seen Bobby Fish recently?
He survived a maritime disaster? Is anyone asking how he survived? No.
I haven't heard a single reportage about it, and that is why wrestling journalists are not respected.
Yeah,
okay?
They're a joke. They're a full joke. They don't do any.
We're going to read about this in Forbes before we hear about it from any wrestling journalists.
The Wall Street Journal is going to break Kyle O'Reilly's cannibalism on the front page. We'll be like, where was Dave Meltzer on this? It's like, well, he doesn't have the resources, I guess. Okay, sure.
The thing we really haven't discussed, too, is that, of course, because he was tag partners with Bobby Fish, and Bobby Fish got himself removed from AEW by his own actions. Sometimes we say, like, he ate Bobby Fish because Bobby Fish isn't around anymore. But the thing that we haven't brought up is that Bobby Fish does have, as we've said before on this podcast, the old-timiest body of any wrestler aside from Bryan Danielson. Yep. So this could this could be a time travel situation. We don't want to get too far down that road. I understand that. But Bobby Fish looks like he came from a time when Arctic exploration was
maybe Kyle got stranded in the past in the Arctic, ate some 19th century sailors, brought Bobby Fish back with him.
Yes, I'm with you. And then they went back again.
Right, and this time Bobby Fish also got eaten because Kyle actually has a very specific time travel curse put on him.
Yes.
Where every few months he gets sent
the time traveler's
to the Terror. Yeah. Time traveler's Kyle. Is Bobby Fish the time traveler then?
I don't know.
I think we're on to something though.
Okay. I think we got to move on. I don't think we can do that anymore. Are you guys ready for this next topic?
Oh my God.
We had to have a long conversation about where in the schedule this was going to go, and we decided it couldn't go too early because we needed to kind of ease
On
into
our
this,
way up.
but I think that I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Deep breath.
Right.
Do some stretches.
Limber up. Yeah. This weekend at Dynasty, Greg, a monster editorialization, wore his best friend's gear and came out to the best friend's theme and terrorized poor Matt Sydal, who we've always loved, and kept terrorizing him even after he won the match until Dustin came out and told him to fucking chill out and stop beating people up. At which point Greg was like, I have had it with you not choosing. You need to choose. It's me or Orange Cassidy. I'm supposed to be your best friend. You have to choose. And as Leah had to remind me of this, then as Greg was leaving, he passed OC coming out for his match, and there was a brief. He clearly wanted to lash out at him physically yet again. Okay, but he had issued an ultimatum, and we got a promo poster for the ultimatum.
Who is your best friend? It was a poster with Orange Cassidy and Trent.
It was for us. They made it for us.
Dustin sat in the middle of it. Incredible.
He looked very sad. He didn't look
Very
happy.
sad.
It was his birthday between Dynasty and Dynamite. And he posted and was just like, who fucking cares about my stupid, happy birthday, Dustin. Then on Wednesday, you have to go choose between your two best friends, loser. And when he calls himself a loser, that's when we know he's doing okay.
That is when you know that he is cooking. I know his stomach hurt so bad.
Tummy hurt.
I know he felt so bad in his body.
He'd been not returning Greg's phone calls and texts before that because he couldn't choose.
He couldn't choose. He didn't know. I don't think he knew what he was going to do, to be honest.
No.
I feel like he maybe didn't know what he was going to do until seconds before he did it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that's right.
He had to do a trust fall with himself eventually. To say whatever comes out of my mouth must be right. So this angle opened Dynamite. And
Dynamite.
Bullshit. Because
Wild.
I was not ready. I was talking to somebody. I was like puttering around in my house. I thought Mox was gonna open, and so I like settled down, turned on Dynamite, was doing something else, and all of a sudden I heard the music, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not ready for this. I wasn't emotionally prepared."
They're trusting Dustin to hold the demo from The Big Bang Theory. Incredible.
In his big hands, and he did it. I don't think he dropped it that we know of.
I mean,
that's not for us to know. That's for our sister podcast to know. I'm sure they'll report on it. What was I saying? What are we talking about? They opened, and Greg is kicking OC out the bad boy hole and kicking him and beating him up all the way to the ring. And it was tragic because OC wasn't even fighting back. He just looked like he just had gone limp to it. He said, okay, well then beat me up, I guess. Yeah. Because I'm just a lonely boy. I don't know why you're doing this to me.
Yeah.
Just a child.
No one left.
No one left. And so then Dustin did come to the ring, and as commentary pointed out, they said he hasn't been out a hole since this all started. We don't know if they didn't put it that way. They said he didn't come from backstage or something.
I would love to hear Taz say, he hasn't come out a hole since the whole thing happened.
Kind of a groundhog situation, like, well, he certainly hasn't seen his shadow. Anyway, and Greg. So one thing to say is we have quite a few awards to give out tonight because of the amazing week we had. So Greg is actually getting the very first award of the night, and he is getting the Most Persuasive Argument Award.
Yeah.
Because he made a shockingly cogent case for why he was angry with Orange Cassidy and why he couldn't stand it anymore and had to become a heel.
Yeah. It was crazy. He delivered it so well, very naturalistically, very believable. And I don't know if anyone's turned heel and given such a good justification for it while we've been watching.
Which I will say is like saying in the entire time we've been watching, we've never watched anyone step over a pebble. Basically. I mean, the bar for what happened here is very low. Yeah. It was just such a normal little speech where he said, when we showed up here, we were a real tag team. We were a big deal. And you were our little mascot. And now our little mascot grows up and he is the big star. And I simply don't like it. And Dustin, I don't think you should like it either.
And he said somehow along the way, we ended up his lackeys. And I was like, yes. Should we all get together and stab Caesar? I agree.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, it was.
I mean, it was an accurate description of what's happened, and it made sense that he might feel some resentment about it.
Absolutely. He didn't do anything crazy. It was just such a straightforward explanation of what was going on that I almost stood up and cheered.
Yeah.
It was like Greg has been noticing what he and his faction have been doing and what's been happening to them, and he had made it into a coherent personal narrative from his own point of view. And it's kind of surprising that people don't do that very often.
No.
Absolutely, because then he turns to Dustin and he says, I don't understand why you don't feel this way. I don't understand. He's basically being like, I don't understand why you don't sympathize with me. I'm your best friend. I love you. I want you to choose me and support me in this. Come hug me. He opened his arms. He's made an emotional plea that makes sense.
Yes.
Dustin, come to me.
Threw Dustin the mic.
Get in
and
here,
Dustin
buddy.
caught it.
Get in here, buddy.
I love that you said we got to get that in there. Dustin did catch it.
It was, from both of them, excellent mic throwing and catching.
No one could say he did it. He has athletic ability. He caught the mic. Mm-hmm. Does one of you want to explain what happened?
Dustin then held out his arms. Yeah. Like he was
He
going to hug.
Almost zombie, almost reflexive. He looked a little dead in the eyes. As
like his body knew what to do, even as his mind was still deciding.
OC is at his feet.
He's looking at
OC is on the floor between them. Like,
and he's given up.
And he's
clutching his stomach in pain. Dustin's looking at him.
Arms wide. And then Dustin stops himself, looks at Greg.
He steps towards Greg and then stops.
Says, Greg, I always knew you were a piece of shit. He said shit on television.
It did not get bleeped. He said
shit.
He said shit, and then he punched Greg in the face.
Yes.
He punched Greg, and then afterwards, he kneels and he pats OC's shoulder as if to say, it's okay, buddy. I'm here for you. And then he helps him out. So, but he also said they won't clear me to fight, so we're going to fight in the parking lot. Okay.
Yeah.
He said they won't clear me to fight in the ring, so we'll have to fight in the parking lot.
Which, again, you guys will have seen. We haven't seen this yet.
We haven't seen it yet.
We are
so
very
rough.
excited.
Oh my God. And they're at Daly's place too, so it's like legendary parking lot. Like the fact that I felt very like we're back in the womb, like as we're watching Daly's place.
It is true.
Like, we watched the only wrestling we ever knew was at Daly's place for like a year and a half.
We were at Daly's place. There was audio issues. We were excited about Best Friends.
It was sunset.
This is everything I remembered.
We just needed the guns jumping around, installing stuff, just shrieking, and we would have been home 100,000%.
That is true. What that segment was missing was Austin Gunn's voice going, "Oh no!"
God bless. And we're gonna get to watch them fight in the parking lot of Daly's place.
I'm so excited. I'm so scared. I don't know what's gonna happen. I keep being like, what if Dustin gets murdered for real? What if they kill him?
I think he has been training, and now I'm like, I guess I know why. Because when's the last time he wrestled singles?
Long time. When's the last time he wrestled?
Yeah.
I understand he was injured. I'm sorry, Dustin. I understand that, and I'm glad that you heal. I'm glad you heal your foot, okay? I'm happy because I like you that you heal your foot. But I do want to see your body in action. I think it's my right as a viewer.
I know. Take the straps down, buddy.
Let's see
the top of that chest?
What if he doesn't do the onesie? What if he goes
oh my God,
topless
Leah.
with the armbands?
Leah, if you went topless with the armbands, don't even say it, because
I'm so horny.
We'll never get it. Don't get our hopes up.
I want her to get my hopes up. She's right that we have to keep asking. We can't stop asking. We are polite. We are respectful, but we say to the men of AEW, we like seeing your chests.
We're not
off the clothes.
We're polite, but we're not respectful.
We're not respectful.
We're not respectful. If you hear this, and I hope that you don't, but also let's see the tits. Come on.
No, I want them to know that I do respect them, even if sometimes I might say things that are crazy. The things I say might be wild. I respect you all as people, but I do want to see your chests. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Is that okay? Enough? My God. Anyway. So, is there anything else to say about this? I mean, what do you
Oh my God. It was so good. I
was happy.
feel like I haven't had like a Dynamite that was this geared at me in so long.
God.
It was just like, wow, right. We used to see this kind of thing all the time, or at least not infrequently.
Often.
Yeah. It's huge. Oh, and we didn't talk about Greg coming out in the
oh my God.
Trent and
Yeah.
OC win the big one, except he taped over OC's name.
Brutal.
So rude.
It was
The
so
stuff
rude.
he's been doing where he did the hands in boys thing, but by himself at the pay-per-view, it's just like,
He knows what he's doing. I didn't know that he knew.
psychological warfare.
Well, because like so often he's like, guys, wrestling isn't real. So I didn't think that he would commit this hard. And he really, like, he's not winking at the camera at all. He is committing.
Yeah.
And he's like been posting stuff to social media that are just like nice pictures of him and Dustin
my
together from
God.
10 years ago.
Then
and stuff.
Orange Cassidy also posted a nice picture. And I
Yeah.
thought, this is the only thing that girls want, is just to watch two men fighting to be Chuck Taylor's best friend. That's what
Yes.
women want. We solved
That's-
it for you. Boom.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
what ladies like.
Yeah. And some men of the IWC are all, why is this happening? And it's like, because women like it. There is one thing that's not for
not a
you.
crime.
It's not a crime.
A crime for us to like stuff and get it sometimes.
Get it sometimes. You
We
want to
don't
take
get
this
it a
away
lot.
from us?
We
I-
certainly don't get a lot.
Take everything away from us? Come
If
on.
They would
we
if they could.
make
Yeah.
any impact on the IWC, which
Yes.
you know, what like the
Yeah.
tiniest little depression in
Like the butterfly flapping its wings.
I literally just wanted to be that like girls fucking love Chuck Taylor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's an army of girls who would die for Chuck Taylor. And
It's because
I'm sorry, men. It's true. This
Yeah,
is what
it is
peak
true.
performance is.
Yes.
It's
We
because
are-
he's low self. He's
Low
depressed.
self.
He's
I was
sad and
about
he's
to say
wet.
it's because
you
he calls
know?
himself a loser.
Yeah.
What we like.
When a man calls himself a loser and doesn't want you to look at him, why wouldn't
You're
you love
just-
that man?
You want to look at him so much more immediately.
It's just it's a rich psychological situation there.
So about the parking lot brawl, we did get a question from a listener, well, a proposal for something, and they want to know what we would think about it. And
Okay.
I don't know. I think
I feel like we're Samoa Joe's committee now. I'm so excited. I'm
little
behind a
bit.
folding table and I am shuffling papers. I'm ready to assess the idea.
so. This Twitter is the AEW Women's Division blog. It's AEW_1 on
Oh, yeah, they're
Twitter,
great.
and they said so. So Trent and Chuck face off in the parking lot amidst a circle of cars. The bell rings. Both men charge at each other, but then stop and hug. Chuck reaches into his pocket and pulls out a key fob. He presses the button. The trunk of the sedan directly behind them pops open, and out flies Orange Cassidy, who then realizes what happens, sighs, and then Trent and Chuck attack him. So it turns out
Oh no!
that Chuck this whole time had tricked Orange Cassidy into
Oh, wow.
climbing into the sedan of the car,
Oh my
only
God.
to be betrayed.
Like to be like, OC, we're gonna attack Trent together, but then actually he and Trent attack OC together.
Mhm.
Well, the one thing I'll
Wow.
say is, I'm absolutely obsessed with the vision and the ring
Yeah.
of cars, especially. And I'm imagining them with all their headlights on in a pretty sinister way, like kind of like in a movie where the cars are alive, but they're not. They're bad. Anyway, it's kind of like Dark Side of Cars kind of deal.
Dark Side of Cars.
You know that classic
That
film.
car documentary that kind of gets into the backstage
I
car
was thinking of
antics.
the animated film, but this is like an evil version for adults.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, so horror movie. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the
You're
thing
obsessed
I will
with the
say,
vision.
I love the vision, and they did really emphasize that he ain't come out a hole.
Yeah.
That's
They
true.
really
They
did
really
lean
did.
on the fact that he has not come out a whole.
Yeah.
That, if they did that, the feelings I would feel in my heart, it would be devastating.
Hurt.
It would be
I mean,
I would
so
be
in a
really
good way,
fucked up.
perhaps, but
I've been thinking about this since he sent it to us, and I think that I could get into it, but only if it ricocheted and made like OC like the saddest and wettest OC
Yeah.
ever. Like
Mhm.
OC can handle getting surprised, betrayed by Trent, but not by both of them. And so then he starts wearing dark jeans and like
Oh my God.
flopping around and just
black
like being-
denim.
Emo
yeah,
boy.
exactly.
When he was on
Maybe-
Being the Dark Order, just like catatonic in the corner. whew.
Maybe he's got a little bit of Swerve's purple eyeshadows, just making like his eyes look sunken.
Now,
Wow.
another thing I'll say, I love to say one thing. That's a lot of things. People have been talking, it's like, okay, who are the faces who are going to save AEW now that we have so many evil EVP CEO types wandering around? And of course, Darby has been mentioned. And Darby is quite sad little boy in some ways. And he'd love to wear his dark clothes. And he's famously friends with OC. I'd love to watch OC just trailing around behind Darby, who likes to be independent pretty much. And OC is just like, but I miss having friends. So I'm just going to go to Hot Topic with you.
They could sit sadly in the rafters together.
Yes.
They both lost their friends
Yes.
recently.
Yeah.
If that was the consequence that we then got a misery era from OC,
Yeah.
I think I would be really into it.
Yeah.
And then it all has to come back together
It
at
all
some
has to come
point.
back.
We need to fight
Yes.
it out, and we need to get a reference that you guys don't have yet, but we need the BSG boxing episode. And those who know. Okay, well, we have to move on anyway. So
Yeah.
let's quick check in. Another place a heel turn might be brewing. So Willow beat Julia for the TBS belt at Dynasty, and which is very exciting, so happy. And her post-match celebrations were immediately interrupted by Mercedes Moné coming out to kind of reissue her Double or Nothing challenge and be like, seems that you probably will be my opponent. It's happening. And she really stepped on her moment. Okay?
Yes.
Heel style.
Heel style.
Willow then had an in-ring celebration on Dynamite with Stat and Stokely Hathaway, who did a little. Chris Statlander did like a poem for her, which I was obsessed. When I realized things were rhyming, I suddenly was like, "Wow, that's fun," and it is happening. I love her so much. I think that whole little crew, like Willow and Stat with Stokely, they've just loosened up so much. It's so
good.
delightful to watch all of their promos now, because we used to say like you can tell that I think we didn't see as many Willow promos, but with Chris we used to be like you can tell that she's like really fun and funny but gets so tense in front of the camera sometimes. She's killing it recently.
Yeah, I think it's so good. Like I think she said like she liked being with best friends because like she'd feel more comfortable in front of the camera when she's there like with a bunch of friends. And I feel like it's been so good for them to put her with them where they can like play off each other and just it's great to see her.
I think she needed to be with best friends for a while because like they made her feel comfortable and they would do a lot of the like talking and that like they made her the enforcer. And then but like now like it was good, I think, for her to switch to Willow and Stokely because they do make her like contribute more than best friends made her contribute.
Yeah. And it's more like a girl best friend thing with like and then the two of them kind of against Stokely like is a nice dynamic that I think is more fun too.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. And Willow I think has always been like has always seemed to me pretty comfortable in front of the camera, like on a certain level she's always been really good, but I think like I got ahead of myself. Okay, so Mercedes did come out to this celebration, and she and Willow got into it about their backstory at NJPW when Willow beat her for the belt. And I thought this was a really good promo from both of them. Like, it just seemed, I would not say 100% naturalistic, but pretty naturalistic. Like, it was like, this is good. The content is good. It's well organized. You both are just seeming really intelligible as characters right now. Very happy with it. Loved it.
Yeah, I thought Willow did amazing, and Mercedes is still like a little bit stiff, but it was definitely like it was good, and it did make a lot of sense between the two of them, which I loved.
They delivered it like it made a lot of sense, and I I
Lisa's
love
fact check. Fact check.
quick fact check on this.
Okay.
I love Willow. Would die for
Yeah.
her. So happy she's champ. She said, when I won the New Japan belt, there was an asterisk because you were injured. I only won it because you were injured, so it didn't feel right. But now I have the TBS belt, which I won regular. And I was like, no, you won it off somebody who was injured.
No,
But not
kayfabe.
kayfabe injured.
Leah.
No,
Take
Mercedes was
your
real.
shoe facts.
Mercedes was real injured. They called an
Mercedes
audible
was
in the
real-
ring.
No, I know, but in kayfabe, Julia wasn't injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. But I did laugh at that where I was like, I don't.
Yes.
I don't know that the lack of asterisk is.
Leah, pretend along with them. Join
Yeah, Leah,
us in
don't you know
the
this
fun
isn't
play
real?
we're doing.
Don't you know this isn't real?
We're doing make-believe, Leah.
But
I don't like that game.
no, of course I do. But I just thought it was very funny.
It is funny.
It is funny. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like. Well, I'm not going to legislate this, but
Yeah, I think you should.
We get
I
into
think
a 20-minute argument about
okay. If you want to go there, let's go there, baby. I'll follow. Where you lead, I will follow. Anywhere that you tell me to.
I do hope that Mercedes turns heel soon because I think that
Yeah.
is going to be a game changer for her.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's becoming sort of more and more clear that it is heading that direction. Because when she started came out with the CEO gimmick, I was like, okay, but the CEO is a heel for sure,
Bad.
so it's good that they clearly know it and they're going that way.
Yeah.
CEO is bad.
Yeah, like an EVP, it's not a good person. We all know that.
If-
They're in the
if
dark
you've got- you
triad.
got
The CEOs.
3 initials there, you are entering the dark zone. Okay. Evil dwelleth in your role. Do we have anything else to say about this? No,
No.
that's it. Okay. Ooh, buddy. Are you girls ready yet again for the second real
Pander.
excited topic of the night?
Really, honestly, might not be.
I know. I'm stressed. Okay. So last week we watched the Bucks fight FTR twice, which fucking sucks ass, in a trios match on Collision and a ladder match on Dynasty. But who cares? Because actually the ladder match totally fucked, and the Bucks have the belts again. Mommy's little babies are back in gold. Thank God.
This match was so much better than the Wembley match. It was crazy.
I think it was.
Yeah, I definitely had that moment where I was like, oh, this is why people like FTR. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I understand.
Disgusting thing to say, but okay.
It actually was so, because their last 2 matches I didn't enjoy. And I know you were there live for one of them. So I think you got a better experience, but there was a lot of other stuff hanging over them. So I haven't enjoyed the last 2 at all. And I had a moment during this match where suddenly I was like, is this maybe even better than the Wembley match? And then I realized I was thinking that because I was experiencing enjoyment. I was having actively a really lovely time watching the match, and I was so confused by that feeling.
Yeah.
To be looking at Dax and Cash intermittently and feeling joy, unknown to me.
Yeah,
it's confusing.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was they're going fast, and it is when FTR is fighting the rare team that they have some chemistry with that's also a good team, they will put on a good match. So
yeah, they were. I mean, they went all 4 of them were like, if we die in this ring tonight, then we die in this ring tonight. Who cares? We're doing it.
When they were getting "Please be careful" chants, it was a high point.
I've never heard that.
No,
I don't think
me
we've
neither.
ever watched a match that resulted in that before. And we've watched a lot of Bucks Lucha Lucha Brothers matches. So
yeah.
Whoever started that one in the crowd probably feels pretty proud of themselves. And they should.
You should. Okay, so the Bucks did end up winning thanks to, there was a little cheating because a little masked imp slid into the ring and I believe yanked an FTR off a ladder. Is that correct?
Yes, Dax.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, the best one to yank. No, not sexual. Bad. I mean, it's violent. I'm endorsing violence.
In violence,
And-
I'm endorsing violence.
Can you
Cold
name
open.
this? Can you name this episode, Allie, the Dax yanker?
No, that's actually really inappropriate, and we can't be
She
saying
yanks it to
we can't be
Dax.
saying lies. We keep saying lies about each other. We have a sacred bond of trust, do we not?
That's
It's
true.
too bad that I can kind of title it whatever I want,
And
though.
do we have a sacred bond of trust or not? Yes or no?
We do.
We do. We do, listeners. Okay. So not erotic. The best death we already yanked.
The best one to yank might still be the title. We'll just see what happens.
It was a little guy in a Sting mask, and then the security came and took the Sting mask off, and who was it? It was little Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And did he get a...
The funniest little face.
The smirkiest little smirk.
And did he get a big old pop?
Oh, he sure did. People screamed their faces off.
Everyone had.
Pretty stoked for that. Yep.
I very much enjoyed, somebody got a video of him coming through the crowd, and he was wearing his little Sting mask and holding the popcorn, and he casually walked up to the barrier, and then all of a sudden he tossed the popcorn to the side and leapt over, and you saw, like, there was the person with the camera was not the only one who noticed him. A bunch of people had noticed him right away, and everyone was like watching him, and all of a sudden the second he jumped the barrier, you just heard this like sonic wave hit the crowd where they were like, I know what's happening.
And it was funny because his little beard was poking out the bottom of the Sting mask. I mean, not that it's like, obviously we assumed it would be anyway, but that it would be him. But he was doing his little like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
It was funny in some of those videos how fast people, like, he's way back just walking like down the aisle, and people are, oh, that's him. It's the Sting mask.
Yeah.
It's like, good stuff.
So wonderful, so delightful. Okay, and then JB also returned to Dynamite this week, finally. So we had the whole new elite, Bucks Okada and JB showing up together. And we got some updates throughout the night on how they showed up with intent to meet with Toni. They went into Toni's office. They came out of Toni's office. Alex Scoops Marvez was there. I actually lost my mind in the middle of the segment when he out loud said, I need a scoop.
Like, literally, I was like, yes, Alex, yes.
Alex Marvez, you're the love of my life. I know you need a scoop. I know you need a scoop because you have children to feed.
Yeah.
You have children
and
to
as
feed.
he got turned down by one by members of the elite, and his desperate
Poor
plea
face.
for scoops got more and more intense until finally Matt Jackson gave him a scoop.
To call out by name every single man, saying, please, sir, I'm an urchin.
I've been standing here for hours.
Do you want me to freeze to death on the cold streets of London town? I need a scoop.
I need a little scoop, please. Can't you spare me a little scoop?
Please. I know you have lots of them. And finally, benevolent Matthew Jackson says, okay, Marvez, one little scoop. JB and Tony Khan will be having an in-ring segment tonight.
That's quite a scoop.
Are we going to have to retrain ourselves to say Jack Perry?
Got. I really can't. I think I kind of don't.
Call him JP and stuff.
I can't do it. I'm like, he is JB.
Gross.
I'm not gonna disrespect him and call him Jungle Boy. I know he's a man now and he wants to be Jack Perry, but he will always be JB to me. I can't change.
I love JB.
And 50 years from now, you'll be calling him that in the IWC, and some youthful person will be like, who the hell is JB?
Who the hell is JB? Yeah. I'll say, I'll tell you a story that'll make the hair stand up on your neck. And he used real glass, too. Okay. So this in-ring segment closed out the show. What do you guys want to say about what happened?
It was incredible. JB comes out. Toni comes out. No music for Toni. Comes out in
No
silence.
music for JB. It was a
yeah. No music at all. Silence. They come out in silence. That's how you know it's serious.
It's serious. It's serious.
Okay.
JB, he says something to Toni. I forget what he said.
He gave a little promo.
Yeah, so he was like, I've spent the best nights of my life in this arena. He was like, he said a bunch of really nice things, and then he was like, I want you, and he turned to and Toni was like a bobblehead. He was just standing there in a suit that was like a slightly too big, just nodding his head over and over and over like a little bobblehead. And he turned to Toni and he was like, I want you to stand I want you to come over here and give me a handshake, and we'll put all this behind us. And Toni said, "Oh, there's nothing I want more than that. This is everything. Of course." And so he shook
said
his
that with
hand.
his eyes.
Yeah, of course, with his eyes. He didn't actually speak.
And
So
they were large, beseeching eyes. I have to say. Yeah.
He gave him the weirdest handshake I've ever seen.
And the
just
hand-
dweebiest
Yes.
hand.
Then the handshake turned into a hug, and we said, "Aw." We all said it. And then
We all
JB
said it.
turned and he looked into the camera with the most Dennis the Menace ass smile on his face.
It was the Grinch smile unfurling onto his little face.
I sent a screenshot of it to my best friend who doesn't watch wrestling, and she just said, "Oh my God, what is Luke Perry's son's face doing?"
What it was born to do.
Oh my God. And then he punched Tony Khan in the stomach.
Right in the stomach.
And
then
Tony Khan acted like he'd been hit by a Mack truck, which I'm upset. I rewatched a gif of it that I just was losing my mind, where it's like he like staggers back with all his limbs out and falls flat, and then suddenly remembers that he got hit in the stomach, and after a long moment clutches his stomach. It's really good.
He looked so like skinny and small in this whole segment. Like it was perfect.
Oh,
I
it
loved
rolled.
it.
It was bullying, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And then the rest of the elite come running out frantic. Nicholas and
"What
Matthew
did you do?"
Jackson, Okada.
What did Nick
JB.
say? Nick said, "You can't treat a billionaire like that."
You can't. He's a billionaire. He said something like, "You have to be careful" or something like that. It's just like, not in front of the cameras, JB.
And they go to check on Tony. They start to help him up. One young buck on either side of him holding his hands and kind of a
Beep, beep,
body
trigger.
array that you might recognize.
I did recognize it. Yeah.
A little trigger. But then
Yep.
they said, "Just kidding. I'm just kidding."
Oh no.
And they
Okada's
helped him
right
to his
there.
feet.
They helped him to his feet,
And then
but then
Matt Jackson scooped Tony up in the most the way you pick up a toddler when
God.
it's time for bed.
Tony had never been safer.
Never been safer.
and as you know, the Bucks are revered in the industry. For their safe working, and we saw it. We saw it on display.
We saw it. And what
He turned him upside down. He
turned him
held
upside down, and I think
Flipped him.
someone described this as Matt fell to his feet like a feather wafted to the ground.
Where have you been reading things?
On Twitter.com.
Matt Jackson
It's like-
fans,
like, what message boards are
simpcentral.com.
No, it was a reply to Trevor Dame's tweet, because Trevor Dame was like, he was
Sure.
holding Tony
newborn
Khan like
baby
his
tweet.
newborn, and someone replied to it and was like, he fell to his knees like a feather wafting to the ground, and I was like, that makes me so happy.
So gentle. Yeah. So Tony Khan got Tony Khan
Drivered.
But
The
I had to get-
NFL
I had to get
media
that last
did
one.
not respect that name.
No, they got it wrong all over the place. I do think this
They
was
called
like
it the
pretty
old
much. Yeah, they called it
The Meltzer
all
driver.
kinds of things that
The
weren't
forbidden-
correct. I even
all
saw it
kinds.
called like not even the Meltzer driver, like whatever its full-on wrestling name is.
Listen.
Regardless, this was a pretty genius PR move because all the NFL sites are like Jaguars owner against pile driver.
Frankly, we needed a little genius PR move at the moment. So that's amazing. Yeah. So then all the nice faces in the locker room ran out belatedly to be like, "Oh, Tony, are you okay?" While the elite exited, being like, "Best elite ever."
Great show
and-
tonight, guys. Have a good
Oh
night.
yeah, Matt was giving his little great show tonight, and then they did the Tony Khan tweeting after, which is so genius. They're so smart and funny, and Tony's papa came out as well
Yeah,
and
Shad
did a
Khan
meme
out
and
there.
made a perfect meme that we'll
he
be
was
using forever.
So concerned. It's beautiful.
It was
very rich
concerned, but
man.
it was also very reminiscent of the grandfather at the end of Moonstruck, where he's like crying, and someone's like, "What's wrong?" and he just goes, "I'm confused." Okay, we have to have a little. We've got a couple more awards to give out. Are you girls ready to do it?
So ready.
Which do you want to start with? Do you want to start with? Should we harken back to the FTR matches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. On Collision, FTR and Pac fought the Bucks and Okada. Last week we said we would die if we didn't see skin. We said if we don't see skin from a young buck, we won't be well. We will not survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick Jackson.
The
man that you are.
The man that you are. Congratulations on receiving today the Most Valuable Player / Locker Room Leader Award for taking your shirt off and wrestling bare-chested, and I hope showing your brother that it's possible.
These shirts actually come off. Matthew Jackson might not know that, but Nick Jackson does know it.
Listen, Leah's done well.
When he took off his shirt, and I was like, it was as if I was a Victorian maiden seeing an ankle. I was like, I get to they show that on television? I can see that. And then Matt kept flirting with it. Like, his vest would get unbuttoned a little, and he, like, at one point it gaped. I saw a little cleavage, and he said, not for me.
He said female presenting nipples, not allowed.
But they Nicholas,
are.
Though. Nicholas.
They are.
I know. Nick showed him.
Nick showed them, and for that, he is commended.
Yeah, you got an award. I'll see if I can make a little
make a little plaque. Yeah.
Make a little plaque. I don't know which.
We'll mail it to the AEW headquarters.
Should we start mailing those every time we give an award? They're like, what do you do with all of these?
Like, please stop sending us. They've got a marble statue of Nike and like 5 plaques. And they're like, what are we supposed to do with those? No one wants this.
Oh my god. To be super, super clear. No one has to show us their chests, okay? We respect.
Whoa, hold on a minute. Does not speak for the podcast. She does not speak for all three of us.
I'm just saying at the end of the day, we can't enforce these rules. we would prefer. We just know how good we loved. Finally,
just because
we mix again, it's just as beautiful as we remembered.
Just because we don't have powers. Just because we don't have powers of enforcement doesn't mean that our decrees have no force. The Supreme Court also has no power of enforcement. Okay. It's just because we all believe in it that it happens, and I think we should embrace that energy.
Did you hear that? IWC Anne got a great young education. She was educated well her whole life, and look at her now. She understands how our government works. She straight up understands how our government works, and she can apply it metaphorically to other situations we find ourselves in.
Yeah. Take a civics class, IWC. Think about it.
So we are the Supreme Court of Wrestling, and we mandate that shirts must come off.
Take them off.
Which I do feel like one real moral high ground that we have is that we love every chest we see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We will not criticize a single chest.
No, we've never said put it away.
No.
Nope. We like them all.
No. Have we ever seen a chest that we didn't like? No.
Sometimes if there's too many muscles. But even then, we allow them to remain unclothed.
It's true.
Yeah.
We've never made Brian Cage put a shirt on.
No, we've never even asked him to. Even that's true. Yeah. The men of the IWC, the critical things they say about other men's bodies, sometimes I am a little bit scandalized by it.
I know.
I don't like it. All bodies are beautiful. They all deserve to have their shirts off, even if they're not to my taste.
Oh my god. Okay, we have another award to give out, and I wanted to do a little preface here. There were many contestants for this award this week because, for a long time, as I mentioned last week, only one man had received this award with any regularity. I can't actually say that for sure, but for a long time, only Matt Jackson had received this award. But last week, Okada received the award, and all the men of AEW heard that suddenly, if you weren't Matt Jackson, you might be able to win this award. And so they came out.
They'd seen the plaques arriving week after week from Matt Jackson, and they said there's no point in competing. And then last week, Okada's plaque arrived, and they said, oh.
They said, hold up. I'm in the running? So they came out and they hammed their little brains out. They were making faces left and right. Takeshita making faces. Who else did I consider for this? There were so many men making beautiful faces. Will Ospreay made some beautiful faces. It was Ham City, baby. But you know who won it?
Beautiful smirking boy.
Jack J.B. Perry won the Damon Salvatore Mommy's Little Ham Award. I think for the first, this is his first win.
He's award.
Never come close.
No, this is not only is his first award, it's his first nomination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time he wasn't literally last in the running, just about, you know?
The only range he had ever shown us before was, oh my God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, a little mild confusion. That's as much as we got.
It's crazy that we're not just going to be able to use him as our confused little, oh no, guy anymore, because he's healing for real. He's making real heel faces. He is doing one thing but meaning another. Yeah. And he learned it all from watching his father lover, Christian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mentorship matters.
It matters.
It's actually delightful to watch a young person grow so much over the course of 4 years.
When JB sat under Christian's learning tree, of course it mattered.
Of course, a lot of acorns fell in his mouth.
Fell on his head. Look at him now. He's got a big beard and he's doing bad shit.
He knows that before you say something devastating and punch someone in the guts, first you give him a little hug, you get him close.
You give him the Judas kiss.
Give him a little smirk. You know what you're doing.
You show the audience. Before the man himself knows, you show the audience what's coming. And the audience says, ooh, boy.
That's Shakespeare, baby. Yeah.
My God. I love to see it. I love theater. And I do think that we need to fund the arts. I'll say it.
And that's why all Leah's new student loan money is going to the Young Bucks.
That's correct. That's because
it's called arts funding.
Right.
It's called a
grant. I'm a patron of the arts.
The new motto is, how can I financially support the arts? It is via the Young Bucks. When you support the Young Bucks, you are contributing to artistic literacy in America and beyond. Throughout the world.
Yeah, that's what I think anyone would say, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that seems right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the other stuff we have here is just that Kenny is going to be on Dynamite next week. It is up in Winnipeg, and we don't believe that he is anywhere near being ready to wrestle again. So there's a question of what will he do? Will he interact with this new elite?
He's got to, right?
Will he get savagely, brutally attacked by his former friends? I hope so. That's what I
think he has to.
They better not punch him in the stomach.
I think
he's got infection in there.
I think that they have to basically murder him because people were chanting and cheering for them because I think partially people were like, Tony Khan does deserve this.
I mean, it is funny because people didn't like seeing the footage because they were like, Tony Khan looks like an asshole because Jack Perry shouldn't have been suspended all that time. But it does really add to the scapegoat story. It's crazy.
One podcast was brave enough to say,
brave,
hey,
insightful podcast.
They showed the footage, but we don't know what else is coming. So maybe we shouldn't just make calls.
We could
the
reserve
podcaster
judgment.
Said they said they didn't know something?
They said I think we have to wait and see. They said we don't have a take yet. Let's see how this plays out.
Those podcasters sound pretty smart.
So there's a lot of things they could do with this, and we'll see what happens before we make an ultimate judgment on whether it was good or bad.
If there's one podcast that you can trust to hear something and say, let it ride. That's us, baby. That's Tunnel Talk. We'd love to say, you know what, we actually don't know that much. So I guess we'll see.
It's called restraint.
Sometimes it does work out in our favor because I have to say it was a pretty unbearable couple of weeks on in the wrestling internet, listening to people confidently tell you what the outcome of this footage was going to be, and it turns out it was fine.
It was completely fine, and in fact, did some good stuff for the future.
Pretty much fine.
And actually, you don't have to have a take. It's actually not required. You can actually just say, not sure I have an opinion on that yet.
What's the quote that you had ready?
You want me to read Marcus Aurelius? Because I did pull it up as we were doing this.
Yes, thank you. I do want it, yes.
Yeah, so Marcus Aurelius said, "You are not compelled to form any opinion about this matter before you, nor to disturb your peace of mind at all. Things in themselves have no power to extort a verdict from you."
Wow.
I genuinely just experienced a little frisson. I mean, it shuddered through me because I was hearing words of truth and power.
Yeah.
I was.
Can all keep that in mind. I got that off of Hellenistic Memes for Classical Teens account. So I hope it's really Marcus Aurelius.
Well, probably it is.
Well, the thing is that, like, you can trust this podcast to say let it ride, and you can also trust this podcast to give you misinformation. So,
Yeah.
I gave you a source, and what you do with that source,
You go check out the what was it? Hellenistic memes
Hellenistic
for
memes for classical teens.
classical
It's on
teens.
Twitter.com.
You can visit that yourselves. That's that's on the open Elon Musk's open internet.
That's right.
No borders.
Elon Musk with no borders. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to say about the new Elite before we move on?
It's beautiful. It was a beautiful episode of Dynamite.
it was a
Couldn't be
beautiful.
better.
It was a beautiful pay-per-view match. It was a beautiful episode of Dynamite. I'm very happy. It's good.
From the start to the end of that show.
I like the men.
I like
like
them.
them.
I think
I like
they're
what
very
they do.
funny.
I like seeing my favorite men all the time.
When
And
I
I-
see my favorite men, boom.
And I think the tag division is in good hands now.
I think they are. Yeah.
Fucking finally.
Fucking
Christ.
finally.
Been wandering in the wilderness for 40 years.
I hope
been
they
out there
keep
with
it for like
Kyle.
a year.
Yeah, me too. I hope they never give it up. No, I hope they give them up. But unless they don't. Nope, they will. They will. Then they must. Unless. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about Toni Storm, who cut an absolutely amazing promo before Dynasty this week. Does one of you want to read the quote, or would you like me to?
I think you can.
Okay. She ended this promo talking to Thunder Rosa saying, "You want to drag my star to hell, Thunder Rosa? Well, you better check the address, sweetheart, because I think you'll find that hell is in my bedroom and I make love to my demons every bloody night." And that was the end of the promo, was it
Unbelievable.
not?
She
so.
had she was like, and on Dynasty, you'll see it. You know, like it was just
They
that.
always have to add.
Yeah, but it was like
That shouldn't be added. Now I'm angry again. I don't want to hear that you're gonna fight Bonobo in Winnipeg or whatever. I don't want to hear that comedy part. I want you to end on the right line, and that was it.
But it's always so funny, though, when they're like,
I know,
here
it
is, I've just ripped out my soul, and that's why at the TBS Arena in St.
Yeah.
Louis, Missouri at 8 p.m. next Wednesday.
That's not what I prefer, but yeah, it is. Of course, it's funny. But my God, what a banger of a line!
But it was the end. It was the end of the meat of the promo. So she understood how to end it. She just had to do her contractual like and subscribe.
She had to promo. Smash that like button.
But that is true. The meat ended.
The
at
meat
the right
ended. She knew.
You're right.
She knew
You're
what her ending line needed to be, which many do not. And
Almost no one.
Toni,
Almost nobody.
no one's doing it better than Toni. And every single person in the IWC who was like, Toni needs to lose the gimmick and then watched the Dynasty match and said it was a great match. I was like, yeah, it's because every single time she's figuring the gimmick out even more. She's getting it. Leave her alone.
And actually, the gimmick didn't have anything to do with the wrestling. It's like, I'm sorry if you don't love the gimmick and you have terrible taste, but that's like a separate matter.
Yeah.
Stop trying to take this away from us.
Yeah, they're trying to take everything away from us.
They want to leave us urchins like Alice Marvez on the streets of old London town, freezing like the little matchstick girl, Alex Marvez.
Nothing left, just FTR Graps matches and House of Black.
You can take our dignity, but you can never take Toni Storm from
So true.
us.
So true.
We will fight them on the beaches. Okay, so that happened. Anyway, so then she did beat Thunder Rosa at Dynasty, and the match was, everyone agreed it was good. And then we've got kind of a Thunder Rosa, Deonna Purrazzo feud spinning out of that. I can't get into that right now. And then also this week on Dynamite, Mina Shirakawa fought Anna Jay with Mariah May ringside. And Mina Shirakawa won, and she and Mariah attempted to celebrate with champagne. And I love that they're champagne girlies. They're like, if given
dancing
the
over
chance.
there with champagne bottle and 2 glasses in her little pink tennis dress. Loved it.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course I did like it, but she did look exactly like Tiffany Stratton. So
And Tiffany Stratton has a bigger platform, so she really should not wear
she
pink. That
certainly
color is
certainly
actually
shouldn't have been wearing-
copyrighted.
Girls,
no.
this is how you know we're in deep.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like, how many times did someone bring that Jim Valley tweet to me to dunk on today? Like at least 4.
And
he deserved it. It was a terrible tweet. Terrible
every time
opinion.
I had something to say, yeah.
Stupid.
Absolutely dumb as hell. Okay, but no, she looked great. She's dancing. She's got the champagne. Anna Jay breaks it up. Can you explain? I totally missed the thing that you described, Leah.
So during the match, so she had Mina, I think Anna Jay had Mina, I think, on the ropes. And then Anna looked up, caught Mariah's eye, and then leaned in and kissed Mina on like the cheek. And it was the littlest, babiest, like little thing. But Mariah stiffened up and was like, how dare you? And
oh my God.
Anna had this look in her eyes like, that was thrilling. And it's like, it is like that thing where it's like, I didn't know that girls could do that. And I see these girls doing all this, and I don't know what we're doing, but I'd like to play in this space. And
monkey see, monkey do.
And her little ventures into lesbianism.
Sapphic
of course.
enjoyment. To the world of sapphic pleasures. I love that she's venturing on in there.
I loved it.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
She sees other women enjoying something, and though she not understand it, she thinks mayhap I shall try. Mayhap I shall stick my little toe in.
Yeah,
and just see what happens.
And Mariah,
what a good reaction she got.
Oh, Mariah took it instantly as a threat. How dare you? You put hands on my girlfriend? How dare you?
The possessive things that everyone in here is doing are so good.
Yeah.
The chain of jealousy.
We
are starting to build up in the women's division is so
right. Because the way that Toni is always clutching
right. So
Mariah
we should say
her bosom.
We should finish explaining it, which is that Anna Jay like knocked the champagne flutes out of their hands and like started to fight them, and Toni came in to save them, but she very explicitly not like separated Mariah and Mina and cradled Mariah in her bosom to the point where like Mariah's face kept getting mashed up.
And I think she had her hand just fully on her boob too, like just.
And Toni wouldn't even let her look at Mina. It was like angling her body away and was like, no, sweet child, you're with me.
And then later, she gave a backstage promo where she said, "No one will touch my child." And it was like, okay, mommy lover. Okay,
mother
finally we got a
lover.
mother lover on our hands for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where the psychosexual situation is so unfathomable.
Yeah.
Complimentary.
Beautiful.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. I mean, I couldn't be happier.
Couldn't be happier. This is exactly, I mean, we have been saying for a long time that we were tired of the women's division doing stories that were like, I saw you and I had a rage blackout, and so now we're feuding, and that would be it. And you feel like, and now what they are doing, you're like, these people are experiencing so many emotions.
Yeah, it's so weird and different and fun, and like between like we've got all the Willow and Mercedes stuff, and maybe Chris gonna turn on Willow, like that story going on, and then we've got this whole like weird ring of jealousy, and I mean, this isn't even all the stuff going on in the women's division, but it's just leveled up so much. It's delightful.
It's great. It's deep. There's like, it's like actually there's stuff to describe, and stuff that happens one place impacts stuff that happens another place. It's absolutely unprecedented, to be quite honest. So,
like, literally in the pay-per-view when we hit the Willow match, I, like, perked up because I was like, oh, finally, like, a match with a story, because, like, most of the others were just, like, two guys fighting. And it was like, and it's the women's match? Like, this is a wild feeling.
Hell yeah. There was also a promo from Serena Deeb on Dynamite, but the audio was fucked up, so you couldn't hear it. So
yeah,
it was amazing. we all simultaneously in different spaces said, "Oh, well, it's Serena Deeb." So I'd be mad, but it's just Serena Deeb. Okay. Oh, and also I just want to say I love Anna Jay. I've always had a fondness for Anna Jay, but it's really ramped up recently. I love her. I think she's working hard.
Yeah.
She's working hard, and I love her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her wrestling looks better. Character work is better. She's been delightful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anna. Okay, let's move into our final topic of the night. Chris Jericho beat Hook for the FTW belt at Dynasty by hitting him with a baseball bat because, as he has said repeatedly since, Hook unfortunately just wouldn't stay down. So it brought Chris Jericho no pleasure to beat him with the bat, but what was he supposed to do? He wouldn't stay down. Mm-hmm. So then on Dynamite, he debuted a new Learning Tree graphic and entrance and came out and cut with the FTW belt around his waist and cut a promo about how he's, quote, doing God's work. And by that, I mean the God of professional wrestling, Terry Funk, a man I've never seen in my life, but I've certainly heard quite a bit about over the years. Big Bill, so he's cutting this promo, kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a mixed crowd reaction, or like it wasn't quite clear where it was going.
It wasn't clear in, like, the weirdest possible way. Like, it wasn't like I thought the crowd was confused. I was confused. I was like, what am I hearing right now? I literally do not understand.
I mean, I did love everything he was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny.
He said something else that was so funny. Whatever. Anyway, all of a sudden, Big Bill comes out to the ring. Big Bill.
Looking so big. Jericho looked tiny next to him.
And he basically was just like, Jericho, everything that you say about how you're a great mentor is actually completely true. You should be revered. You do have a lot of wisdom. And to be honest, I want to sit under your learning tree.
And Anne and I both had the exact same experience, which I'm so happy about because I was like, I'm the world's dumbest girl. And then I was like, not alone. But he looked into Jericho's eyes and he said, Jericho, I'm the biggest man on the roster.
He said, no one's bigger than me.
No one's bigger than me. And then no one's, and I was
and
so
like better at something or other.
Sure that he was about to say, no one's bigger than me and no one's billier than me.
No one's biller than me. It was a perfect setup. And then when he said, and no one's better at whatever, I was like,
no.
Guys,
real missed opportunity.
That's why he has to sit under the learning tree.
Yeah.
That's true.
Jericho would have told him.
Jericho would have been like,
bigger,
go for
no
it.
one's billier.
Go for it.
So now he might learn that in future. They had the funniest back and forth where I was like, Chris Jericho, no one has enrolled at your university for wrestlers yet. No, you have no students under the learning tree because Hook won't come back. You're begging him to come back. He won't come back. Big Bill shows up. He did just have a belt, so he's kind of a credible contender. And he's like, I'd love to be under the learning tree. And Chris Jericho, with the funniest look in his eyes, he just goes, I'll be keeping my eye on you. Like, maybe I'll let you under the learning tree. So I was obsessed with, I was like, this is unhinged behavior. It's like, he's not like, yeah, come see me and we can work something out. He's like, I'll be keeping an eye on you. And perhaps in time, you may earn access to the shady boughs of my learning tree.
Well, it continues to work as a gimmick because it's like, Chris Jericho's like, oh, yeah, no, I want to give advice, but not to the people who need it. People that will make me look good for giving it. It's like,
yeah,
this gimmick fucking rules.
It's so fucking funny. I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, it's like we're just in such a funny place right now as a community where everybody collectively really doubled down on it's time for Chris Jericho to retire immediately.
Oh, my God.
And I think that a lot of people are just like not really wanting to leave that space. And I don't know what to tell you because it's really fun. It's really fun right now. It
was very nice after this promo because I was just seeing tweets where people were like, well, you got to give it to him. That was pretty funny. And it's like, yeah, you do have to give it to him, actually. So, and I never thought that Big Bill would join him, but I am so delighted because I think Big Bill can be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And I think with Jericho, that's really going to take him to the next level.
Absolutely.
Big Bill is going to get his knee stuck in the learning tree.
Hell yeah.
Big Bill, comedy king. We've always loved you. Accidentally. We did it, well, not immediately when we thought you had that
Not
thong.
always,
Well, we kind of liked the thong thing, but we weren't sure about you. But then you got your knee stuck in a tree, and we imagined you as Winnie the Pooh with your rump in someone's dressing room. And suddenly, your girl said, actually, this guy's got a lot to recommend him.
So true.
Because he's a funny guy.
Yeah. And now he's with Jericho, and they're going to be comedy kings together. It's perfect.
Can't wait. Last night, the amount of different versions I saw of Rich's clip from him saying, never count out Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Rich.
He'll find his feet. He's going to reinvent himself, you know?
It is
Won't take long.
quote of a lifetime, and of course, Rich's delivery every time he says it is simply perfect.
I had never
No notes.
actually watched the video of it until last night.
Oh, really?
And the fact that he's like, come here, zoom in. And the camera gets close. And he says, never count out Chris Jericho.
When you're right, you're right.
He's so right.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about Jericho's learning tree or hook or anything at all?
One thing I think I would just like to say is I find it incredibly comedic how all of a sudden a lot of people were like, how dare you disrespect the FTW belt by giving it to Jericho? I said, I'm sorry. It's fake ass belt.
It's not fucking real.
It's not a real
not
belt.
real.
How dare you disgrace the legacy of the FTW belts?
So stupid.
So fucking
Wow.
You know, what can you say?
I hate
What can
Jericho
you say?
haters. Listen, if you don't like Chris Jericho, that's fine. I will never argue against it. If you are peddling Jericho hate for
if you're
no other reason,
grifter,
if you're a goddamn grifter, making shit up just because you're a mean-spirited person, I hope you get stuck in a tree.
Grinch grifter. If you're a Grinch grifter out there.
The amount of just like hand-wringing and negativity, it's like, does anyone in this IWC ever have a good time doing anything?
I
hope Chris Jericho never retires.
Me too. I hope
he wrestles
in the
until
ring.
he's 90.
I hope he wrestles till he's 90 and a young buck kills him in the ring as God intended. And I hope it's really hard for them, too, because they're such famously safe workers. And Jericho said, you got to kill me in this one. And they're trying so hard to drop him unsafely, and they just can't do it because of muscle memory. And how old are they at this point? I don't know. I don't really know the age difference there, but they're still,
I don't think it's
still
much.
wrestling.
10, 15
And
years.
their
Yeah,
shirts
maybe
are off at this point.
Maybe 12 years younger. 15 years
Finally,
younger.
the shirts
So
have come back off across the board, and
Jericho's 90, they're 75.
that's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
amazing. What a great
Jericho
image.
says, end this for both of us.
For both of us.
The Young Bucks also die killing Jericho in the ring. The suplex is really
And of
it
course,
goes awry.
it's one. The Young Bucks are one entity. So
That's right,
And this
yep.
for both of us is the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho. And then again, that'll happen in the ring when they're 90 and 75 and 71 respectively. Either 90, 75, and 71 or 79, depending on how you did that math, Ann. So.
I mean, it wasn't, let's say, precise
was approximate.
math. It was approximate.
It was approximate math, yeah. Interesting. I'll just do a little PSA here at the end. I think there's a lesson. There's a lesson for us all in all this stuff that's been percolating in our community. And you might say, get off Elon Musk's X.com and get off his internet completely, maybe. And I'd love to, but I can't. I live there. I grew up on Elon Musk's internet. I can't leave. So I have to watch all the stupid things people say all the time. And I think we could all just remind ourselves now and then, I know so little. I know so little in the grand scheme of things. As one time, my mother did send me to kind of like a cult event on her behalf.
What?
And so, I forget the name of the thing. It was like a cult. You know, they want you to join their like cult.
Was it
kind of a
NXIVM?
Scientology deal? No, it's
The Moonies?
No,
Children of God?
Oh, Anne.
Heaven's Gate?
No, I'll look it up later. No, but it's one of the ones, it's like a pyramid scheme, you know, where they want to get you to the point where you go to one of these lectures where they like lock you in an auditorium and
Scientology?
No, it wasn't Scientology. It's like, I'll get this before the end of the show or so. You know, they want to, and then they lock you and they yell at you to like change your life. Horrible.
Sure.
But she told her coworker that she would go, and then she sent me instead. And I'd graduated from college, so I was an adult. And of course, they only said one thing that I liked it. I think it's from Ronald Reagan.
Where's the story going? So you heard a Ronald Reagan quote at a cult event.
And it changed your life philosophy?
And it applies to the IWC at this moment. Please.
It's where they show you the circle.
Was this the Young Republicans? Where
no,
were you?
It wasn't the Young Republicans. I can't believe that. It's life. Oh, shoot. This is a great use of our time, I think. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
we wouldn't worry about it.
The more time we have before I hear the Reagan quote, like the more excited I'm getting. So
I don't even know if it's a Reagan quote. Landmark Forum. Jesus Christ.
I would never have guessed that one because I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Well, you can look it up. Anyway, I don't know if it's a Reagan quote. They did the thing where they say, you know, the whole circle, and they're just like, this little a piece of the pie is what you know. And this little piece of the pie is what you don't know. And the whole rest of the pie is what you don't know. And I understand it's quite stupid to say that's really stuck with me all these years after my mother sent me to a Landmark Forum meeting to get recruited. And actually, I had a really erotic time because there was a girl there who I really hit it off with, and she was she looked so gay, and she was there with her mother. They were trying to, you recruit her too. And we got into this conversation that I was just like, I am so into you. And then she revealed that she was married to a guy in the military. I had just broken up with my boyfriend in the military. And it was a whole, and then she said, you should call me so we can meet up before I leave town again to go move to the military base. And I never.
Did you meet up with her and convince you? Hallie,
no, I know.
You could be married to this woman. You could have convinced her to break up with her husband, as you had just broken up with a military man.
I know. I could have been like, look how easy it is.
We'll get Kyle O'Reilly to get you some time travel, and we'll fix that up.
That's perfect. I need that. Anyway, you could probably cut all of that, because all that I was going to say is, just take a beat. Every single thing that we hear, we don't immediately have to decide, what's happening there.
The thing itself cannot compel a verdict from you,
You don't know what you don't know.
And you can have fun when you watch wrestling. You don't have to be a big wet blanket all the time. That's just another thing you can think about.
Do you think this has been a good segment here at the end, or?
I really don't know, but I've enjoyed it.
Quite hard to tell. I can't wait for you to get in there and find out.
This episode of Dynamite, though, it had big season premiere energy in a way that I found very exciting. I'm very excited for things going forward. We're after WrestleMania. We're ready to get into it.
I love that you just said, let's bring it back to the topic at hand at the end here.
I had one more thing to say about wrestling. So,
bully for you, Ann.
It isn't Ronald Reagan. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
I think someone. Okay, look. Google American president. You don't know what you don't know. Just see. I think someone said it in like a Bay of Pigs type context.
Oh. That'd be JFK if it was a Bay of Pigs, but it could be someone like Warren G. Harding.
It could be.
It didn't come
what if
up,
it's...
but...
Well, the Dunning-Kruger effect is when you're so stupid that you think you understand things that you don't understand, right?
I don't know.
This thing that I am looking at Well, we can't do this. We can't do this. We can't be doing this. We have to say our names.
Now I'm just looking at a Politico article about Merrick Garland because it's something that Garland's old college roommate used to say.
Well, as Merrick Garland's old college roommate used to say,
listen,
I've been Ann.
I've been Allie.
I don't think you can do that. No. You can't just.
I just did.
Ann yourself up first.
Wrap it up, ladies.
Why did she do that? I was trying to wrap it up before you decided to say one more thing about wrestling, Ann.
I know, and now we're back on this Dunning-Kruger Ronald Reagan thing.
I know, we do gotta
It's not my fault.
Okay, Ann, you silence your hole for a moment. I've been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
It's been Tunnel Talk this whole time. Our theme is by Chris Corkin. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at Tunnel Talk Pod and via email, tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network feed, along with many other great podcasts that I love to listen to, and we had some amazing episodes this past week, so check them out. And you can also find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord, where we have said some stuff, definitely this week, that I can't imagine if you enjoyed this, you wouldn't like to read. As always, stay frosty, and please, come back next week.